Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Internet Friends, the episode where we establish who has the worst daddy issues. And so far, it looks like I'm in the lead.
You did it. Despite my appearance,
Yeah.
it's actually you.
I,
So
I was about to say, it's amazing how the one person who's a pole dancer on the show actually probably has the best relationship with their father out of the
Yeah.
group.
it's the pole dancer, the alt look, the tattoos. Like surely somebody's like, well, she must have daddy issues. I'm like, no, my dad's great. So, no, I love him.
90s movies have taught me to believe that that is a lie you are telling right
Yeah.
now. There's no way.
Yes.
Well, I mean, like, to make sure we're on the opposite end of the spectrum, the straight white dude is the one who has the most daddy issues. So maybe I should just, like, start dyeing my hair and becoming a stripper. That'd
Yeah,
be fine.
let's go.
Yeah.
I'll teach you my ways.
I don't think my knees bend like that anymore.
You figure it out.
You'll figure it out. Well, they'll get used to it. No, you'll just figure it out.
Knee pads, it's fine.
But those have to
Knee
come
pads,
off eventually.
very valuable for lots of things.
Very true.
Truly.
Not in some relationships I've seen.
We're off to a roaring start.
Yeah, of course. How's
Yep.
everybody been?
Tired.
Yep.
Not great depression-wise, but I'm doing all right today.
Well, you started off the week, going to a Green Day concert, so.
Unfortunate, I
Yeah,
know. But
yeah, the Green
he'll
Day-
muddle through.
Oh, my week was your nightmare. I went to Green Day and then 9/11, my favorite holiday, and then Beetlejuice. It
How was
great.
that? I've been seeing some stuff about it, but I haven't actually had time to see it.
Of all of the unnecessary sequels that we have gotten and will continue to get, it's the best it can be.
Okay, that's
Like,
about what I
I've
expected.
heard. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I look forward to watching it again on streaming. There you go. I'm gonna watch it again.
Fair enough.
Perfect.
Ringing endorsement as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So, what about you? How have you been, Brie?
Pretty good. We were dealing with I won't get too into this, but at my job, one of the owner's fathers passed away, so we were dealing with like all of the
Oh.
I don't know. And then somebody else was on vacation, and then somebody else went on medical leave and never came back. So it's kind of like when it rains it pours. So we were dealing with a lot of big changes very quickly. But it's fine. Ultimately, we're finally getting through. So it's been a challenging week, but it's been fine. I'm here. I'm still getting paid, and that's really all I care about when it comes down to it. So
That is all that matters at the end of the day. Life, death, and money. That's all
Yes.
that fucking matters.
thanks, capitalism. We love it here.
Yay!
We don't have a choice.
Best
Yep.
thing ever.
Yep, no, I just
Speaking of capitalism.
yeah, speaking of capitalism, I just had my birthday just passed. Had to replace my driver's license because I'm officially at the age where you needed to renew it. So that's
Congrats.
fun.
Yeah. I
It's
did
just-
that earlier.
And didn't do a whole lot. Me and Emily kind of front loaded
Uh-oh.
the month with all of our activities, and then eventually we got to this week, and we're just like, yeah, we're just not doing anything for anniversary and birthday week.
Perfect.
Yeah, that works.
So, anyways, moving into the first homework topic of the episode. Bree, you were in charge of homework this week, so what are we talking about today?
We're talking about Umbrella Academy, which the whole reason I brought this up is because the fourth and final season had dropped, I want to say like a month ago, to not a lot of fanfare and a very shortened season. So I was kind of like, you know what? I remember liking the show. I want to go back and rewatch it and see if it actually holds up. And then I find out that you two have not seen it, not properly. So I thought this would be an
And I
excellent-
still haven't. I refuse to watch it. No, I
Perfect.
did
This
watch
will be a
it.
great discussion.
Let's explain the show to
gonna be
Seth
quiet.
without having ever seen a single episode. It'll be like how I understand Game of Thrones.
Perfect. But yeah, I'm excited to hear what you all have to say about it as I pet my cat.
Seth, you want to
My
start?
internet's getting choppy.
Oh no. Buffer.
Sorry, my internet's getting choppy. One sec.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and start
Am I
then.
still here?
Yeah, you're still here. You seem to be relatively okay on our side.
Yeah, just a little like buffering, but you're good.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll start.
Okay. Yeah, you guys
Uh,
dropped out completely for a sec.
So yeah, like I have quite a few thoughts on the show. a lot of stuff kind of related to the production of everything. I will say, in general, the show kind of was not my bag, in complete honesty. Like, this might be just... It was kind of a slog to get through, to say the least. I do think the first season was more watchable than the second season. I definitely tuned out after...
Hard disagree. I loved that second season.
Interesting.
I'm actually not surprised by that, knowing what I know about you. But like that, but yeah, it was like at that point where I was just kind of like, you know, had it on when I was in my work from home days, and like there would just definitely be times where I tuned out and then looked through. And it's like, wait, what just happened? And it's just like, oh no, they just explained everything that just happened. I don't need to go back and rewatch it. The main thing that I really kind of picked up on is like, man, they blew their budget in the first couple of episodes and then had to make up for it the rest of the way through. Mm-hmm. Because like the first episode especially, like I was just like, man, did you just like find like Wes Anderson's like younger cousin to do all the cinematography? Because like, you know, they did a lot of the cemetery style shots of it. You could tell they spent a lot of money on putting together the sets and the props and everything else. And you could just see over time that it's just like, all right, less set, more green screen, more soundstage, more whatever, and just like you could tell that it's just like whatever money they were given to make the show just started drying up over time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fair.
So, Seth, did you like it?
Yeah, I really liked it. I will say it did take me a couple episodes to get into it fully. But once I was on board, I was completely on board. So much so that I actually had to stop taking notes because every note I was taking was just, oh, I like this. Oh, that's neat. Oh, that part's cool. And everything else I think we're just going to talk about naturally. Yeah. So, yeah, I stopped taking notes at a certain point. I liked that no matter what time period it was in, it all felt kind of timeless. Like, even though it's supposed to be the 90s, late 20-teens, it could exist whenever, and I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I'll give credit to the performance. I was just gonna say, I think the props department and the costume department definitely did a good job of working with what little they had to work with, and they did a good job of making everything that. So that was good.
Yeah, no, I really like the production design. The performances were all great. Mm-hmm. I will say though, Five sometimes would go a little overboard with his facial expressions. Mostly he's great.
He's young though, and a fairly new actor though. So honestly, the fact that he's doing as well as he is
I was unaware of that.
Yeah, he's only doing a couple like minor things, but that's his first big role.
Yeah, well, especially considering the fact that a lot of the plot leans on his character. Like, you know, he had to carry the show in a lot of places, and I think the actor did a very good job of what he was given.
And he is young too, super young.
Oh, is he? Because the moment I saw him
in the first season.
Oh, really? Because when he popped on screen and said he was 13, I was like, "You are 25 at the youngest, good sir."
He's 20 right now, so he just turned 20.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna give him the 20-something-year-old playing a 16-year-old thing.
That could just be conditioning on that's what they usually do.
Well, you're also putting him next to a slightly now older Elliot Page, where Elliot Page used to be the, younger actor in the scene, and you're kind of comparing and contrasting on that one.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you guys both got through all of season 1 and 2, is that right?
Yeah, I finished season 2 on Wednesday, so we've gone for
y'all
the first
did
2
better
seasons.
than I did. So because it's so funny because I was really anticipating, because I kind of got some vibes when we first talked about it that I didn't think that either of you were gonna get through it. So I was I really focused on season 1, and then I got through halfway through season 2. And to be honest, again, the reason I offered this up is because again, season 4 and parts of season 3 are a little problematic. Season 4 is just garbage. It's terrible. All of the character development that they have in season 1 and 2 is just gone. They clearly were just trying to finish up and wrap things up very quickly. There's also a cheating storyline, which, in a, time travel, drama is such a weird thing to bring up. I'm like, wow, this is the least interesting route you could have taken. And then, with Allison's powers in season 3, there are some issues with consent, and that gets very icky very quickly. Allison sucks in season 3. So, but I was
Which
happy
is funny
to
because
see.
she's actually the most sympathetic character, at least in the first season.
Yes, yes. Well, and actually, it's funny because part of the reason I didn't finish season two, and I want to just preface this with like I am saying this with an amount, like a huge amount of privilege. The like all the racial stuff going on in that time period is very upsetting. When I first I was like first learning about the Black Lives Matter movement, like when that season came out, and I just like sobbed through the whole thing because it deals with like the thick of that. And I think they deal with that very sensitively. I think they do a really good job, like, because I feel like you can get pretty dicey when you get into like time travel, where it's like, well, I can kill this historical person. Like that can get
Right.
real dicey very quickly. And I do think they
Yeah.
handled that pretty maturely for the most part.
Yeah, they did pick a very interesting time period to jump to because you think about how things are today politically, and like a lot of people seem to forget. It's just like, no, like especially around the time with the JFK assassination, like we were definitely at a boiling point with
Yes.
a lot of the stuff that's going on. We're talking not just like the stuff that was going on with the civil rights movements. We're talking about the stuff that's going on with the Cold War. Vietnam's starting to kick off right now, or at least we're like, I think, just like right in the thick of it at this point in history, if I remember correctly. And yeah, there's just a whole lot of things, and like people like romanticize the wrong word, but definitely like the Kennedy assassination represents kind of a very big, like almost a wake up call in this political era. And so but yeah, like you think about like how we've been at these huge boiling points before, and how much like the fallout of it really kind of shapes what happens in the next like half century.
Absolutely. I didn't have a lot of notes on this, to be honest. Like I was kind of just sitting through season one and just enjoying it. My only note was in like the last two episodes where I was like, Luther fucking sucks.
Yeah, correct.
He is a bad leader, and like I feel like it's like, no, you're actually really great. I'm like, no, he's really bad at this. Actually, he's like huge stereotypical white knight, especially for Allison. I was like, she was doing the right thing, and you didn't trust her to do the right thing because you're, her protector and need to do the right thing. It's like I'm like, no, fucking shut up for a second.
Yeah, it's one thing he was supposed to be the stereotype of the big, strong, stupid guy, but like it's just like there was no lovability about how stupid he was. He was just stupid.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah, stupid, and again, just like that weird, I like white knighting is like the best description I can have, because the fact that he's like, well, no, I love Allison and I have to protect her. I was like, she didn't fucking ask you to.
I was about to say, yeah, it's just like Allison's fine, can pretty much take care of herself. That's not the issue.
Yeah, she's very capable. Like, and they've shown it in a lot in that season. Like, I'm like, she's good at hand-to-hand combat. Like, her powers are very, they could handle a lot of different situations. I do think it's interesting that they did like take away her ability to speak towards the end, because I was like, okay, well, shit, she doesn't have any powers anymore. And I'm only a little disappointed that they didn't go through that a little bit more, because at like the next like season, it's like, I better now.
The show's very bad about follow through and like setting things up and then having any kind of payoff behind them.
Correct. I think that is one of the weaknesses in the show. Slightly.
I think that's, though, a symptom of the time travel. Yeah. And I actually liked those inconsistencies, because it was like, it gave me the impression of like, oh, something has happened that we may find out about in a minute that explains, oh, the timeline shifted again a little.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's different than it was before. But yeah, the voice thing would have been nice to get some more than just a single flashback.
Yeah.
No, and I think a lot of my problems I had with, especially starting out, is just like, okay, so first thing you need to do as a show that is super character driven like this was, you have to get me to care about the characters. Mm-hmm. And you got maybe two of them for me to really care about. And even those ones, you didn't do a very good job of having them be front and center.
And who's that? Who's that for you?
Klaus was the first one. That was the first one I really cared about. And then Allison was the other one, but like Allison always kind of like teetered for me. Mm-hmm. And for having Elliot Page be your like headliner for your show, they did not use Elliot Page a whole lot in either season.
Mm-hmm.
Despite being
though, I think especially in the first season, I think it's they're meant to be in the background like the entire time. Yeah. So I can't speak as much to season two, but
I remember the promotional material is just like they really hammered them being the headlining actor and like everything else like that, and then you watch the show.
Well, they were
like,
the most famous at the time.
Well, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
and like probably getting the top payment, but in like terms of like the story, like, and another thing is like I found that especially in season 1, the story was very predictable for me. Like every element, like I caught onto it before it ever got there. Like, interesting. Vanya seems to be the only person not there when the apocalypse happens. I wonder what's that about.
See, for me, I had it ruined that they had powers. Right. So something I enjoyed about that was being able to pick up they're not there at the apocalypse. They obviously have powers because I already have that knowledge. So what part do they play in this?
Right.
Yeah, I still think it's a good setup overall. But I will say, Aaron, to your point, I feel like something I kind of want to talk about with this is what is a good team dynamic? Because honestly, this is what I have an issue with a lot of like team superheroes, because I'm like, the problem can be very often that it's a team of like, 10 or whatever, and you like 2 of them, and then you have to just fucking wait for it to be the issue or the episode that's focused on your character. I think it's very hard to balance that, especially, I mean, like, thankfully, I think there's just enough characters in this, and I think they do spend enough time with each of them, especially in season 1 and 2. But I don't know. I was just interested what you guys think about that. Like, what makes a good team dynamic?
I think when you have team-based kind of stuff where like you have singular characters, it comes down to their relationships to each other. And the problem with I think the show, and why I think maybe this one doesn't work very well, is because some of them practically don't even have a relationship really. Like there's almost like no interaction between certain characters. Like Diego's just a dick to everybody and doesn't really like make a difference no matter who he's interacting with. I always got frustrated with everybody in their relationship with Klaus because everybody's just like, oh, he's just a junkie. It's like, he's a junkie for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, like as soon as they introduced his character, I was just like, okay, so the drug addict character, but I was just like, don't tell me he is on drugs because it's the only way that he can push down his powers that probably cause something traumatic. And go figure, I was right. And like it was like, and again, I sympathize with this. Like, yeah, no, if like basically I have the dead showing up and like haunting me all the time, and the only way to get rid of them is to numb myself out, totally get it. And then I felt like everybody should have a little bit more sympathy for his character, but everybody just treated him like just another junkie in the family. I was just like, no. And like, there needed to be a kumbaya moment for all of them. There needed to be just kind of like just a group having it out, fighting, getting drunk, and just clearing the air with all of them. And they never really did that. And just, I think that's kind of why it feels so lopsided, where it's just like there's maybe 1 or 2 characters you care about at a time, and then the rest you're just like, whatever, you exist.
But I think that was intentional for the like family trauma dynamic, because going through trauma, just because you're going through it with another person doesn't mean you're going to be close at the end. Right. And like, so I think there's a lot of there's supposed to be this like, fuck you. Cause there's a lot of resentment between all of them for not being able to save each other from what happened. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think if they had done like a kumbaya moment in the first season, it would have been unsatisfying to these characters. And it shows, to speak to the team dynamic thing, they do work really well together as a team, even though they're picking at each other and yelling at each other, because that's ultimately all they were ever trained to do.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. But I think where it kind of goes is just like the problem always in their dynamic is singular. Everybody knows exactly what the problem is, and it was their dad.
Yeah,
like, it's just like, it's not like there was like separate issues kind of going on and that were kind of causing fractions. It was always just like, dad's a dick.
Well, Vanya hated everyone else for abandoning her and not them.
But again, the identification was just like, yeah, that was because of what their dad did. Like, everybody could point that out. And the fact that certain characters failed to have any kind of sympathy with each other about the stuff just like made it worse. Everybody had their head up their own ass about what the problem was, and not had like no ability to sympathize.
Yeah, but that could have also been a survival method for each of them, right?
That's totally fair.
Yeah,
Like,
I see what
especially
you're saying
after
for
Ben.
sure. Yeah, but it's like the level of severity of all their trauma is different too. Because like, although to your point, I'm like, I
Yeah.
think they could have, if they, like, especially Klaus, I feel like he got the worst of it, of like literally having to like stay in a mausoleum, like, and just like deal with that for so long. Like, of course he's a drug addict. Like,
they all had the
traumatic.
shared trauma, but the trauma manifested in different ways.
Yes, to different
And
degrees,
I think that's where the resentment comes from, where it's just like everybody's trauma from this one thing that we all share manifested in different ways, and nobody sympathized with anybody else about how to deal with it. And then, of course, you have people who were complicit in other people's traumas as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's why Fives, I think, is, you know, probably a very interesting character, because he exits relatively early in the cycle with the time jump that he did, and so even though he did have some of the same issues that other people were having with their father, he wasn't really around to experience the full extent of it as time went on.
And the separation. He wasn't really there for any of that.
And people have resented for Fives. It's just like, you weren't there for all the other shit. You were just out there. So it's just like, dude, I was fucking stranded in the apocalypse. Losing my mind.
And then becoming like a Men in Black style killer.
Yeah, and like becoming a time-traveling assassin.
Which is cool. The boardroom scene in season 2, fucking great. When he goes in and kills the board.
I will say this was probably one of my favorite uses of time travel and the ways that they set up the rules around time travel.
Yes.
Because we've dealt with a lot of time travel media, I would say, especially over the last 20 years. And, you know, every time they have to set up a certain amount of rules, and they have to set up like kind of like, what are the consequences, what are the things you can do, what are the things you can't do, all that kind of stuff. They kept it relatively coherent, where it's just like, yeah, you can change a whole bunch of other things, but there's also limitations to what you can do within time travel.
Yeah. No, I thought the time travel was good. They explained exactly as much as they needed to explain, and then just went, does it matter? Pay attention to the story we're telling you. And I appreciated that.
Yeah, I like the commission in general, and the handler, and Hazel is my favorite character, like, in the series. I adore Hazel so much. Watching this again made me like him even more. I was like, I fucking get it.
Well,
like
watching Hazel is just kind of like, I hate being a corporate cog in this whole thing. Everything we're doing is bullshit. Like, who cares? All I want to do is run away with the woman at the donut shop. And I was just like, I feel you, Hazel. I totally get it.
Yeah.
And they're very cute together. I just like, because I feel like the first time I watched it, because like, which I'm not wrong on this, but the age difference between them is pretty big. It's like, I want to say like a 15 to 20 year age difference between those two actors. But I think it still really works. Like, I feel like they spend just enough time on him to like really sell that. Like, he's been so many places and done so many things, and to fall in love with this woman who makes really good donuts and loves birds, it's just like, oh my god, I want what you have. I just want this simple enjoyment of life.
I've lived one of the most chaotic lives possible. I just want something simple and easy.
Yes. And I love that. I think they're so sweet together, and I like it. It does make me sad too. That, I mean, they got their happy ending together, but then Hazel dies right after that. But I'm like, I still love that he got to at least do that before, you know, all that happened.
Yeah.
He got to ride out into the sunset.
Yeah. Very sweet. I love that a lot. Again, especially because there's a in season 4, there is another romance where there's a huge age difference, and it doesn't make any sense, and it makes me very uncomfy. So I will say, I think a lot of my enjoyment on this is like me being so fucking sad about season 4, because season 4 is so fucking bad. And watching this back, I was like, no, there was a lot of fucking good content here. Like, I think, again, like, and honestly, I understand your criticisms completely, Aaron, but like, I think, because for me, I think the biggest thing is, I would almost be okay with this being like 7 or 8 episodes. It did feel like it dragged a little bit towards the end, where I was like, okay, yes, we have all the pieces where they need to be, but everyone's in slightly different spots, and like they just need to get together. So there was a slight bit of pacing issue there. Yeah. I didn't think it was like gratuitous by any means, but I understand that completely. But I feel like in season 1, they really balanced time with each of the characters. You got to see them as kids and their relationships with their dad and everything. And I just feel like if you're going to do a team this was the way to do it, because they really did, at least in that season, I think it's season 2 as well, season 2 they focused a lot more on their relationships. Especially I love how they the way they find each other. It just like you got to see different combinations of them, which I think was much needed and wasn't really in season
Right.
1.
Yeah, I felt that they really kind of shelved Klaus in season 2. It was one of those things where, like, I don't think we got him until by the second half of that season, if I remember correctly. It was
He was there.
He was there, but like he wasn't like front and center to the plot.
He was leading a cult, that's all. So, which I think honestly on brand.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. No, the branding was fair, but like it's just like the pacing is definitely an issue. I think, especially looking at from a video production side, which I feel like a lot of my annoyances came from that, like how they did a lot of the action sequences. Again, I talked about like you could tell that like their budget was drying up as seasons went on, and they started like going to different techniques to try and fill things out. Like if you compare what the house looked like in the first couple of episodes to like what they come back to at the end of season 2, it's just like that's like night and day in terms of what you could tell what they actually had in their budget. And so and this is a problem with Netflix in general. Netflix is the worst offender. I sent you guys a video a few weeks ago, I think, talking where a woman was talking about like, yeah, like the reason why costumes in Netflix shows suck so much is because they don't pay their art departments.
Yeah, it shows.
It shows. And like, and yeah, there was definitely some things with some of the props and costuming that were really good, but there were also some stuff where it's just like, man, that looks fucking terrible. Like Luther's like muscle suit, especially in the first season, and the jackets that he wears, it's just like that looks so bad. Like you couldn't.
They did give him a real long, skinny neck that they fixed for the second season.
Yeah, no, the second season it's like even though like the costuming like technically got worse, they actually took some time to actually like let it visually make more sense. Where it's just like it's so boxy and awkward in the first season on Luther. I'm just like, this is so bad. It just takes me out of the whole thing.
That's funny because that didn't bother me as much. The example I was thinking of right off the bat is early in season 2, where like the 3 Swedish guys, they kill that cat lady and her head is in the freezer. That in no way looks like a human head at all. Like it is clearly like costume that they just like stuffed with something. I was like, you could have just like, I think they could have played this off in a better way where they, if you didn't have the money for the prop, then maybe just like show that in a different way. You could have showed her like feet and, you know, like somewhere. You didn't have to be a really fake looking head.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff, especially early in the first season, where I was just like, wait, did I miss something? I remember something else happening, and just like, and it wasn't related to the time travel thing. I think it's just like the rules of the world and the universe weren't established yet. So like, 5 like slit Mary J. Blige's throat like 5 seconds ago. How she's still walking around, and just like all these other kinds of things. It's like I need to like recontextualize a whole bunch of stuff that's going on.
Yeah, that's fair.
There were some things.
Go ahead.
There were times when I was like, I've been watching this. Did I miss a scene?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because like a character would suddenly be in a new place, and that got me every once in a while.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes back, and that's an issue sometimes when you start going time travel-y type stuff, and like not where it's just like there are maybe plot holes that maybe they didn't take time to fix. And like there's just jumps, and like it's just like, are they going to explain this later in like a flashback or whatever, you know, kind of pieces. And they're, even by the end of season 2, like I said, I haven't watched season 3 or season 4, but there's still a lot of stuff that's not explained, especially like from the very beginning. It's just like, okay, so there's 40 something random Jesus babies walking around, and we are only aware of 7 of them. What about the other 30 something? It's just like, yeah, we're just not going to address that until later.
I don't know if they ever do address it, to be honest.
Exactly. That's why I'm just like, is that ever getting addressed, or is that just an issue?
Yeah, probably not. Because, yeah, I mean, like, again, I think season 4 is only 7 episodes, so they clearly had to, like, cut a bunch of things.
Well, yeah, as somebody who's watched season 4, does it feel like season 4 is literally just, like, we're just going to tie up whatever loose ends we think we had? Like, what's kind of the thing that makes it fall so flat?
I think, honestly, I just think, There's a lot. I don't even know how to explain that. So one thing that you do need to know about like season 3, because I think this happens in season 3. There are two versions of Ben. There's the Ben that we
Right.
know where he grew up with, and then there's asshole Ben who is from the Sparrows.
Yeah, there's the cliffhanger at the end of season 2 that shows that like Ben's alive in this new timeline that they've created.
Correct. Unfortunately, they set up a scene where you're going to get nice sweet Ben for the rest of the show. They don't. You get asshole Ben from the Sparrows, and he sucks. He's just like a mean guy, and like he just hangs around for the rest of a few seasons, and like is unfortunately more of a main character.
You either die a nice guy or live long enough to be an incel.
Yeah, it was honestly, yeah, he is the fucking worst, and he leads a lot of season 3 and 4, especially season 4, and like he sucks as a character, especially when you're like, okay, well, can I have like original Ben back?
I was about to say I
cool.
love Ben. Ben was probably one of my favorite characters in season 1 and 2. Especially just playing the Jiminy Cricket, conscious character for class of just like, hey, like maybe just don't.
Yeah, and they tease that that's the one who's going to come back, and then like they must have just like scrapped that completely because they're like, no, asshole Ben, that's what the people really want, and he fucking sucks, and so that's a big part of it. But I think also to the point of like a functioning team mechanic, they in season 4 they don't know what to do with some of the characters, like Victor at that point is they have nothing to do with him in that season, so he just kind of out sometimes, and I'm just like, what is that, like, why are you here, like, and the same thing with like Diego and a couple other characters, like they just don't have anything to do with them anymore, so they kind of shoehorn some like smaller subplots in, and you're just like, really, at the end of the series we're dealing with again a fucking cheating plot line? I don't fucking care, like there's time travel and like apocalypse is going on, like this is such a minor thing to go on with. But
does it feel like they were trying does it feel like they were trying to save the show, like last ditch effort, maybe if we introduce a whole bunch of new things we can get new interest? Or
not at all. I think they just didn't have the time, they didn't have the budget, and I think they just did what they could with the very limited amount they had, so a lot of things didn't get solved.
They had to clear some of these contracts that they had open.
100%.
I think if I remember correctly, Netflix was like, we'll give you one more to wrap it up. Everyone's mad at us for canceling things, so we'll give you a shortened season, but wrap this shit up. So I think it was Netflix decision. I think they went into the 4th season knowing it was going to be ending.
Yeah. Were either of you any familiar with the comics at all?
No.
Yeah, because like I looked them up a little bit, like I probably after I finished season 1, just because I knew this is based off comics by Jared Way, and like I was just like, okay, so I saw the covers. It's like, okay, this has like a Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events, sort of mid-2000s Hot Topic vibe, which makes sense for the lead singer of My Chemical Romance to write. But like, yeah, I was just like, yeah, this doesn't look like a comic book I would have picked up if I was in the shop and saw it on the shelf. So like, I don't know if there was just maybe more story that they ignored to tell, or like how they wanted to wrap it up. I don't know how closely they followed the plots from the comics either. It seems like there's a lot of differences that they took with it. I know Jared Way's, involved closely with the project. He's been on the red carpet. He's had a good relationship with Elliot Page, especially during the transition period and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So, yeah, like I just don't know, like as far as like a source material to Netflix thing and like how much is being left on the table here.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I'm not sure. I will say just a small note on that, because I believe this happens in season 3. I don't think it's in season 2, but that's when the transition actually happened for Elliot Page. And the show handles it super fucking well.
Yeah.
It's a very short conversation, but it is like, because I think there was a lot of people who were very worried about it, because they're like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? But honestly, yeah, it was literally just a short scene, short conversation. They handled it very well, which is exactly how those situations should be handled. Just like, okay, you're our brother now. Cool. Sounds good.
It seems that everybody who was involved with the project had a very good relationship with Elliot Page at the time, which is nice to see. So all that kind of stuff. And this is hindsight being 2020, obviously, or 2019. Joke. But like watching the first season and knowing like, everything with Elliot Page, and it's just like, man, you can almost feel the gender dysphoria they're experiencing. And I don't know if that was intentional or not, but like you could kind of feel it coming through the screen. And like
Yeah.
and like I think some of it was the writing and like specifically the character, but I kept watching. It's like I know Elliot Page is a better actor than this, but like it's like, is it the role? Is it the fact of what they're going through right now in this time period where I'm watching? Like, what is kind of the thing? I think season 2, you know, especially they're a little bit more in a comfortable environment, and you can kind of feel that in the second season. Obviously, didn't watch season 3 or season 4, so can't really speak to that. But you can definitely feel like the time arc that's kind of going on right now in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would recommend, like, if you wanted to watch season 3 just to kind of compare and contrast. I think it's interesting because it does take a different timeline with the Sparrows instead of the Umbrella Academy, and it's interesting. It's just, again, they were starting to lose steam there, and then season 4 is just like a fucking shit show. So happy to spoil that for you at any point if you're interested in that. But, yeah, it's I'm glad you guys at least you know, gave it a shot. I'm like, and again, Aaron, I feel like your criticisms are like super valid. And I don't think this is a show for everybody. This is certainly not a show I would recommend to just anybody, especially with like the level of burnout that people have on like superhero like content these days. I think this does.
I think that actually probably might have been more of the issue for me, was just like I'm so burnt out on this genre in general, and the show did not do anything that I felt really reinvented the wheel as far as the genre goes.
Absolutely.
So I was just like, and like I said, a lot of my big nitpicks were more on a technical level, but you know, again, that's Netflix's fault more than anybody else's.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, you know, if anybody wants to watch the first 2 seasons of Umbrella Academy, if you think it's going to be your vibe, by all means, check it out.
Yes, and Hazel is the best. I'm glad you both agree with me.
I like the Handler a lot too.
The Handler's a fun villain. That is a very fun villain. The Handler's
a very fun villain.
Because especially the fact that like their motivations are super clear, but also at the same time their way that they go about it is super interesting.
And how ostentatious she is, like with her, like her fits are immaculate, but also the fact that she is like, she looks so good. And it's
again,
just,
like, where was all the budget going? It's just like, well, we just spent all the money on the Handler's outfit this season.
Here.
You know what? Touché. By all means, keep at it.
Absolutely.
Good. I'm glad you liked it, friends, or didn't like it. I'm glad you experienced it.
I'm glad the reasons that you didn't like it weren't for shitty reasons.
Yeah, I'll take that. I think that's super valid.
I'm glad you had a reaction.
Yes. But now I like Seth more, so I hope that's
I thought we already established that. We're basically trying to figure who gets Seth in the divorce.
Oh no. I've already been through this once.
Don't worry. 2 Christmases, Seth. 2 Christmases.
My dad doesn't have that much money.
But this dad could.
That's true. Fair.
However, you will refer to me as daddy.
Oh.
I already called somebody else that. I don't think they'd like it if I called you that.
You just can't do any weird stepmom stuff with Emily. That's the only rule.
All right, fair.
More than fair.
All right. Well, getting into some news topics from the past couple of weeks. A lot of electronics and entertainment news came out. A lot of more stuff that's on the dock, honestly. But one of the big pieces of news to come out was the new PlayStation 5 Pro is coming out, and it is going to be $700. And that's the base price. So that doesn't include the stand that you have to pay for. Doesn't have an optical drive, and I guess kind of at what point are we going to just ask ourselves is like, are we living in like the PS3 era again, where it's just like you're charging way too much money for what this thing is?
What's on that
for
console?
Inflation?
I just like
that's
I don't.
The thing.
That's what
I saw somebody.
Me.
I saw a comment on a TikTok that went the remake Station 5 because all they have is remakes. And I was like, yeah.
My PS4 works fine, so I'm gonna just do that, and also I have a PC, so I just like, what is the benefit truly?
Exactly. Well, and that was something I was thinking about with the Pro coming out, is that this console cycle has been real weird, that we're at the point that a Pro's coming out and you can still play flagship games on the previous console generation. Like did we really need a new generation to start with yet, or could we have waited a few more years?
I mean, when last generation moved over to x86, which basically just turned the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One into basically just PCs with a different operating system. Yeah, you're right. Like, there hasn't really been a lot of scaling, and even in the PC market, you know, a lot of games that you get, even AAA games, their recommended specs still are like several generations old on what they recommend as specs. Like, the computer that I built now 2 years ago is still overkill for like any AAA titles coming out. So it's just like there's no reason to upgrade right now for me, aside from like if there's a stability issue. And that's kind of like one of
Which there is, but it's with you, not the computer.
We can't fix that. So
people have been trying to fix me for 32 years and they haven't done it, so it's kind of a lost cause.
Were they trying to fix you or change you?
Well, the people who tried to change me are basically left in the rearview mirror, but but no, like, and I think a lot of people brought up kind of a lot of the facts. It was just like, okay, so $700 PS5 Pro, $700 PC, and the PC market has had a lot of fuckery over the last couple of years. Let's be totally fair. The GPU market is still garbage, but going back to kind of what I was mentioning, where spec-wise, it's just like you could still build like a decent PC for $600, $700 that will run about as well as you could expect the PS5 Pro to run.
Yeah, and pre-builds are getting better all the time, honestly. So
yeah,
at that price point.
The only concern I have about pre-builds right now is they're starting to get into soldering on components, and so upgradability is not as good.
Sure, yeah.
And that's typically a main selling point for PC. But yeah, like it's one of those things where like I built Emily like a spare parts PC last year for our anniversary, and basically she just got the remake of Age of Mythology. She's been playing it nonstop, and I just ran the benchmarks on it just to see, it's like, how good is this PC for running this game? And they're just like, at your current spec, like you're blowing most PCs out of the water just like as it is now. And that was like a cheap spare parts build.
Absolutely.
Like, and so I feel like Sony especially is just kind of like getting into that point where it's just like they're so tied to their hardware that they have to figure out how to make sure that thing keeps churning, and that's why we're at where we're at with them.
That's wild. I just don't know who this is for, to be honest. And I'm like, I'm ride or die for like, I was a console gamer for a very long time, and I still am to a certain extent. Like, there's something very cozy about like, I like a controller. Like, it's just like, it's nice to just like boot it up and do that. I get that.
If you're going to do an on TV experience, like console is the way to go.
No question. Yeah. So just like, I get that appeal, but I'm like, now that I've gone PC, like, what's the point? Because to your point, like even with, I do have a pre-built, but I am able to switch out components as need be, which is very nice. And it's just like, yeah, for $700 for what games? Like, I'm very confused on that. Like, I can't think of a single thing that's like, oh man, I have to have a PS5 for this game.
Everybody's
there it is. All right, well, I'm gonna go out and get one right now.
Okay, but for real, that franchise is good. That franchise is very good.
Everything I'm saying about it was just kind of like, is it worth spending $600 just to play Astrobot? And a lot of people are saying it might be.
Dude, the first one comes preloaded on the PS5, and it's like, it's basically like a tech demo for the controller.
Right.
I played the whole damn thing. I 100%ed that thing. It's fucking great. It's really good, and I'm excited for the full game. I almost got it the other day, but then I was like, nah, I got other shit I gotta spend money on.
Yeah, we've all been there. But no, I think part of it is like, this has always kind of been the console sort of thing where it's just like, you have the big launch of the thing, you have like the mid-gen refresh, which is like always the Pro model, the Xbox One S and X, Series X, whatever they did. There's always like a mid-tier refresh, which is just like, we upped up the CPU and GPU. I know they're advertising the AI upscaling, which is just upscaling that technology that's been there for like several years, but you know, they're hamming it up. It's just like, okay, so it's a hardware refresh, but the taking away the optical drive to me is just like, dude, come on.
Sony's been wanting to do that for a while.
I know,
but yeah, to do it on the most expensive one is ridiculous.
And like, I get that like physical copies of games have just basically tanked. Like, you know, The only thing keeping GameStop alive is like meme stocks at this point.
Yeah.
But
hey, they're a retro game store now.
Oh god, I'm so pissed at that, and I don't even know where to start with it. But
I've heard it seems like right now their prices are reasonable, but that'll probably change once they grow a monopoly. Right?
As a person who has friends who have started their own businesses as retro game stores and stuff, and having a big corporate conglomerate try to eat up that space, like I'm just like, please don't, just leave it alone.
Please.
Like, this is such a community-based thing, and, if you guys are just going to come in and start jacking up prices on retro games, you guys are going to screw up a lot of people's, hobbies and businesses that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but no, as far as, like, Bree's thing about who's this for, it's for people who have the disposable income to just buy the latest and greatest hardware.
In this economy? Does that person exist?
They do, unfortunately. The only benefit I could see that doing is that, like, if there are people out there who are going to go ahead and spring for the Pro model, is that you're going to see a lot of, like, PS5s start getting into the used market at lower price points for people to buy up. Because when the PS5 originally came out, it was getting scalped to high hell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And so now there will hopefully be a flood of regular PS5s that are actually going to be at a relatively discount, and people can actually get their hands on them for who want them and haven't been able to afford them at this point. Because even though, like, yeah, console gaming is the cheaper way of getting into gaming for the most part, $500 is still a lot of money for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can't justify dropping $500 on anything right now.
I don't have $500. I'm like, I have like $50.
Yeah, it's just like my bank account's like, when is payday?
I got a solid $20. I can
It's like, I'm saving that for the peanut butter and crackers I'm grabbing later.
Yeah. Yep.
But there's also this kind of like tiering thing that a lot of people kind of do with how they market products, where it's just like, you have like the base tier of something, it's just like, yeah, it's missing a little bit of something, but if you pay a little bit more, you're already at this tier, so you might as well buy the next step up and the next step up and the next step up, which gets us into the Apple model of pricing, because Apple's basically pioneered this.
No, it's existed for fucking ever. Like, you look at Gibson in the 30s, that's what they did.
Yeah.
They would like this idea of, let's have an entry-level thing for the people who can't afford the thing we actually want to sell them, and then we'll do a mid-tier that is so close to the thing you actually want, you might as well just spend that extra $50, right?
Yeah. So we have Epiphone, but if anybody like catches you playing an Epiphone, you're just going to be shamed.
Yeah. Epiphone has existed longer than Gibson, fun fact, but I won't go into my special fixation right now.
We'll get it out of you one day, don't worry.
Yeah.
It is my entire goal. My life's mission.
Weird goal. I feel like you can do something better.
We'll just start a spin-off music podcast and just trying to find somebody else to be the not white dude.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Listen to me rant about Ted McCarty for 3 hours.
Hey, there's a market
joke for
that.
Guitar players. There is. I watch a lot of those channels.
I also just like somebody talking about their hyperfixation. I think we could really go off of that. So.
Welcome to ADHD Autism, the podcast.
We're doing a rebrand.
Absolutely. I'm all for it.
But yeah, so speaking of tiering and overpricing hardware, Apple is announced their latest iPhone, the 16 models, I guess. I don't know. I'm not an Apple person.
It's the 16, but it might as well be the 15 or the 14 or the 13 or the 12.
Yeah. No, like, even looking at how the link that was posted on the chat, like, it's just like they have like previous models, but they do like, oh, it's like you could get the 16 Pro and 16 Pro Max. Or like the 15 and the 14 and like whatever.
Yeah, or if you're poor,
we still sell
last
them. They're
year's
still
model.
Here. This used to cost as much as this cost, but like if you get this, like, are you really that cool? Also, I can't really tell you what the difference is.
Yeah,
that's
the
wild
camera
to me.
looks a little better.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, like, and this is very naive of me. I didn't realize that, like, people, like, get a new phone, like, each time and like, a new one comes out. Like,
My
that
entire
is,
office. My
phones are
entire
so
office has been
expensive.
talking about this for
Yeah.
weeks, and I am just sitting there, it's just like, what's wrong with your current phone?
Yeah.
That's I'm like, they're so expensive. Like, I had an iPhone 10 until last year when I finally upgraded because my phone was not used. It was actually a danger to me at that point because, like, it was
Yeah.
literally overheating and the battery wouldn't last over 2 hours. I got lost once and I was like, okay, we need to buy a new phone. But it's like, that's $1,000. Like,
Yeah.
every year or whatever the fuck. That's wild to me. Like,
And, like,
capitalism is really doing numbers.
I mean, not only that, like, I'm on the Pixel side of things, and I don't even get, like, the flagship pistol. I get the Pixel, like, A series, which is, like, the, like, mid-season, like, actually slightly cheaper phone. And so I had the 4A previously. I upgraded to the 7A a few years ago, so, like, 3 whole generations between then. And, like, I didn't even really need to upgrade at the time. It was just one of those things where it's just like, oh, I need to re-up the Google Finance account that I have, otherwise they're going to close it and that'll be on my credit score. So I was just like, yeah,
Right.
whatever. But, like, yeah, like, there was almost no reason to upgrade at the time. And honestly, like, there's no benefit to upgrading for the most part.
No, there really isn't. No, and, like, I upgraded. I have a Pro Max. But the reason I have a Pro Max is because I got really good trade-in and financing offers last time. And I was like, if I'm going to lock into a phone for 5 to 7 years, I want it to have the biggest battery. And if I'm getting this discount and opportunity, but I have no intention on upgrading this phone for years. I've had it for like 3.5 now. Still works great.
Yeah.
Like, it's still a great phone.
Yeah, I think Apple's now officially hit the thing, is hitting that place where it's just like they're now making them too good, and now they're having to try to figure out a way to get people to continue to buy them. But they've run out of, like, any kind of ceiling for innovation. Like, now we're in the AI era, and everybody's more or less rolling their eyes at it. Like, I believe they use the word Apple Intelligence as their branding.
Yeah, that's what they're calling it.
Which was funny, because they were, like, the biggest holdout on the whole AI trend, because they were trying to kind of play as, like, we have this technology, but we don't want to call it AI because of all the legislation and connotation around it.
And it sucks. In any font, in any brand, it fucking sucks. So.
It's so funny at work that, like, we're trying to, like, all of my higher ups are trying to go into, like, AI and how we can implement it so hard, and I'm just like, it's not gonna work.
It doesn't.
Like, we're just like, we're writing so many proposals using ChatGPT, and you wonder why we're not winning any fucking contracts then.
You could tell that's such a fucking corporate move, because I'm just like, the more I might mention this, but my studio uses ChatGPT to write our workshops. They're starting to sound fucking nonsense because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'm like, this is why we need people to do this. Like, it doesn't work as well as anyone thinks it does, and it's very easy to spot.
It ruined search. It ruined Google and like, searches kind of stuff, where it's like, it used to be, it's just like, I type in a search result, I got a couple of ads, and then, like, the first result is the exact, like, thing I was looking for. Now you give me this whole fucking AI generated paragraph that is factually incorrect.
Yep.
And like all over the place, and doesn't even answer the query that I was inputting, and like I still have to scroll down, and like now the actual result I'm looking for is like literally almost on the bottom half of like the scroll page. Like you made your product that you are known for worse because of a buzzword at this point.
Yeah. Instagram's the same way. I actually had a hard time. Like, I couldn't remember how to, like, add a friend on Instagram because I've been avoiding, because they made the search bar and the AI bar the same. And it's so fucking irritating, because I was like, now I don't want to look up anybody, because I was like, I don't want the AI to be like, what can I help you with? Fucking nothing. Leave me alone. I'm just like trying to look at my friend's pictures. God damn.
Well, like, I've even seen a thing now where like people have been talking about how like, they're applying to more jobs than ever before, and AI is basically being used to funnel through resumes, and everything's getting thrown out. You have to use, like, they're trying to, like, oh, did people write cover letters with AI? Let's throw stuff out. It's like, turns out the cover letters that you're accepting are the ones that were written by AI, and the ones that were actually handwritten by a person are the ones that you're throwing out. It's just like, you've created more problems than you've solved with this technology. And like,
Absolutely.
I understand that there is practical applications for it, but you're applying it in the wrong ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It should be used as a tool for efficiency, not a do everything for me.
Yes.
Or kill bots.
Yeah.
I did want to mention
just casually supporting Skynet there, both of you, huh? I said
mean,
I want AI to be used for kill bots, and the best response I got was, yeah.
I've always,
I'm all for it.
I have always maintained that if we're going to have an apocalypse, a robot apocalypse is preferable because one Windows update and they all shut down. You just have to hold
agree.
out.
It's true. It just happened a couple weeks ago.
Exactly. Like, I'm just like, all we need is for them to blue screen and we're good. Like, we can hold out on that one.
I can see they're like, the battle's about to start, and then all of them freeze because Windows was like, "Oh, we're updating right now," and you have that little click wheel going in their eye.
I mean, we just watched The Phantom Menace 2 weeks ago, and literally, it's like we blew up a ship, and now none of the robots work. We win.
Yay!
That's true. I do want to mention, like, yeah, go ahead.
I rewatched that scene. You're right. Qui-Gon Jinn does do a cart roll after he gets
He
stabbed.
pauses and then somersaults over.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I watched it back because I was like, why though? Like, I just don't understand what direction he could have been given to do a somersault.
I'm pretty sure it just happened, and George Lucas is like, yeah, I'll CGI out that
No
later.
one's going to notice.
About it.
Yeah.
I did. We did.
Yeah, it's quite funny.
I'm so glad you went back and noticed that. I did want to mention really quick about the iPhone, because I'm hoping this is part of it, because I think, you know, we should mention at least that, like, obviously everything going on in the Congo and just like the ethical treatment, especially for iPhones and brand new phones. I know for me, like, going forward, I'm probably going to just buy refurbished, because I'm like, if I can, I know I'm like a small drop in the pond, but like, I feel fucking awful that I just bought an Apple Watch and a new phone. Like, I'm just like, I don't fucking need it. I'll buy refurbished because I don't need people to literally die over new technology, because it's not fucking worth it. So I'm hoping that is a factor as well, that people are like, wait, we really don't fucking need this. It's like, no, you fucking don't. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it sucks that there is so much harm that is caused by literally just consumerism in general. And, you know, as we've established, no ethical consumption under capitalism, but, like, do what you can little by little where you can. Just...
We don't need to over consume, like the whole fucking Stanley Cup thing, which I'm sure you all have seen at this point. Like, people are selling their collections of Stanley Cups now because they had to get them in every single fucking color, but now they're not cool anymore. And it's a reusable fucking cup. You need one, maybe two. I have two that are like knockoffs of them, and I use them all the time. I don't need to, but yeah, now they're not cool anymore, so they're selling.
I think when you said Stanley Cup, I thought you were talking about hockey.
Oh. I didn't.
It took me a minute because, like, because all I have is I have like two thermoses that are like gas station brand, whatever, just grabbed, and then like my sister gave me an old Yeti that she had. I was like, cool. And then she also got my wife a Yeti as a bridesmaid's gift. And like, basically, it's like, cool, we're good. And it's just like, Yeti, everybody's getting Stanleys these days. It's just like, I'm okay with being behind the times on this.
Hey, can it fit liquid in it? Cool, perfect.
Yeah. It's like, does the coffee stay hot and the undescribed cold liquid that I am not going to reveal to my coworkers stay cold? Cool.
Water, perhaps.
But how much lead does it put into my drink? That's what I need to know.
That's important.
As long as it's too much or not at all, that's basically like where I'm standing with it. Hey, it did great for our parents, that lead.
Yeah, it did wonders. I want to have the lead and the paint chips duke it out. Paint chips duke it out inside my body.
Hell yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah. So yeah.
Meanwhile, my lungs are popping like popcorn.
It's probably fine.
Yeah.
So, anyways, going into some more depressing entertainment news, we got Pixar firing about 14% of their staff. I know Microsoft also fired some people on Xbox again. Like, hasn't even been a couple of months. And
cool.
A lot of conversations about, like, kind of what's going on in the entertainment industry and layoffs, really. So,
yeah.
A lot of finger pointing, a lot of kind of corporate speak going on. I think kind of my main takeaway from it is that I think the entertainment industry is just about to crash.
Oh yeah,
I think the
a
bottom.
lot of the big studios are.
I think the bottom's just falling out at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that stuck out to me in the article that we read was that they crunched these workers to get Inside Out 2 done. And then they were like, thanks for working. You're fired. So now you don't get to see any of like the bonuses that you would have gotten because the movie did well. You don't get to any of that. Just get the fuck out.
Oy.
Not surprising, but very disappointing still. Like, it's just like, especially I'm like, I can't believe that so many people are just like, oh, it was the gay kiss in Lightyear. Yeah. Like, fucking wasn't. Shut the fuck up. Like, you can't be, and it's like, I've never seen the movie. I never intend to.
No, like I didn't watch.
That's the problem.
Like I didn't watch Buzz Lightyear because I didn't care. The fact that there was the fact that there was a gay kiss, and it's like, you realize how much gay shit I have watched this year and have enjoyed.
Like, oh no, the movie that we made that no one wanted to see, absolutely nobody asked for, failed. It must be because of the gay.
It's the woke.
It's always the gays.
I will say it does seem to be this kind of. It's whenever it gets into kids' media is where the whole woke shit always like just gets hammed up, and like woke has become like now a word of just like, I'm officially stopped listening to you now that you've said the word. That's like your arguments mean nothing to me at this point. I no longer respect your intelligence, but like because we just watched Umbrella Academy and just like LGBT stuff going on like all over the place. Zero issues with any of it, and nobody's going to talk about it because it's not aimed at a younger audience. As soon as it gets to a younger audience, like, but think of the children. It's like, you mean the children that you're letting chill out in schools and getting shot up?
Yeah. What about those?
About those kids?
Yeah.
Just
I somewhat disagree with the woke thing simply because they freak out when it's in adult stuff too. It's just the media doesn't talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, just as someone who got laid off a few years ago by one of the big entertainment industries after a major merger and all that kind of stuff, it really does just kind of feel like they're in this period where they've run out of ideas and things, and they're basically just trying to cut costs to as low as they possibly can, because they're number go up. That's the only thing they give a shit about, obviously.
Yep.
But no one's going to theaters really anymore. Streaming services are struggling to make a profit. And normally, like, you're just like, okay, how do we get people to start watching stuff? Well, maybe start making good stuff. It's just like, yeah, but we're not going to pay money for that. CC, our conversation about Umbrella Academy, how it's just like, you blew all your budget on the first couple episodes, and now you guys have to make this on shoestring now.
Or, unless it's a sure thing, we're not going to pay to market it.
Yeah,
like we'll give you $50 million for a small thing, but we're not going to market we're not going to market it, so no one will see it, and then it's your fault,
right? So, or like, hey, here's an interesting idea that nobody's done before. It's like, yeah, but what if it was already pre-existing intellectual property instead?
Yeah.
What if it's The Crow again? We could do that. That'll go really well.
Yeah, because again, people were asking for a Crow remake. That was a thing that
y'all were
explicitly said.
I needed that.
And it was good.
This one died. Yeah.
I was about to say, if Skarsgård doesn't get shot on the set of it, what was the point?
We've got more Skarsgårds. It would have been fine.
I don't know
like
which
7 of them. Have you seen that family?
Oh yeah, I was just like, which one is the one that's problematic? We could shoot that one, right?
I don't know.
I genuinely don't know.
I don't pay attention.
I literally had a conversation in the car with Emily about which Skarsgård is which, and I was like, I'm pretty sure the one in The Crow and it is Bill. And she's like, no, Bill's the dad.
Yes.
And I was just like, no. I was just like, no, I'm pretty sure it's that one.
Stellan's the dad.
Stellan's the dad. I knew it was like a weirder name. Bill just sounds like an old person name.
Yeah, there was a little while there where someone had changed his Wikipedia to say Stellar Skateboard instead of Stellan Skarsgård.
That's a cooler name.
Yeah.
I'm looking up a list of all of them in the family so I could try and keep track. No, I'm like, I know Alexander.
But yeah, no.
Yeah, Alexander's True Blood.
I know that
Handsome.
one.
Yeah.
Very handsome.
Stellan's Thor and the Swedish girl with the dragon tattoo.
I was about to say, which one was the like buff Viking one?
That's the one I don't know the name of.
Yeah, okay.
Is that like a Michael?
It seems like a Michael.
Walter?
It could be Walter.
It could be.
And then
I'm
Bill
more confused
is
than
it.
I was originally. So.
Here's how we save the entertainment industry. More Skarsgårds. We got to start breeding the Skarsgårds.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like between.
But not the problematic one. He has to watch.
Yeah, we just need to figure out
whoever
which one
he
that
is.
It's probably the dad. Let's be honest.
Let's line them all. Probably. Let's line them all up and just go down the line. Are you problematic? All right.
It's just like, all right, everybody hand us your cell phones. We're gonna go for your DMs.
Problematic. All right.
So how do we feel about the gays?
Yeah.
Anybody?
How many bottles of baby oil do you have in your house?
Okay. Perfect.
We can't talk about Diddy if Megan's not here.
All right. Yeah, that's the rule.
But no,
problematic rap news, and we bring Meg on the show.
Exactly. We just need an extra white person to talk about hip hop artists. But yeah, no. Yeah, between all the strikes that have been happening lately, the lower budgets on things, laying off of staff. Like, I genuinely do think just like the entertainment industry is just due for a huge, just crash at this point. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know the consequences of it because that's going to affect a lot of people, and the entertainment industry is full of people who are literally just clawing their way to get by. Mm-hmm. And so,
well, it's definitely going to be the death of at least 1 to 2 studios.
Oh, yeah.
No question.
One of these studios is going away forever.
Oh, yeah. That's absolutely going to happen. My only kind of hope is because, like, we saw in, I would say, the 2011 through 2015, we saw a big jump in indie movies in that time, in independent series, because you had things like YouTube coming along, streaming was starting to hit its stride, and accessibility to film equipment and other kinds of stuff, like, really kind of blew up, because now you're starting to get DSLRs where you can have, larger image sensors and HD, 4K, filming capability and stuff, not being super expensive in the grand scheme of things, and having a lot more people having access to that and using creativity. We saw a big boom in that. It kind of went away because people started buying up a lot of these like more independent production houses and like buying scripts and everything else. Like we have A24 buying up any interesting idea that comes along. So my hope is that maybe we get back to some smaller stuff, kind of like what I hope the gaming industry does as layoffs continue. It's just like, hopefully in the next like 5-10 years, we see like a big boom in the independent side of things.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I would like that.
It's bound to happen, yeah.
That's my optimistic take on the situation.
We'll take some optimism for sure.
Right. I don't want the show to just be like, everything sucks and you should feel horrible.
That's what I want the show to be.
I know, and I have to fight you every single time.
I know.
I was gonna say, on that note, and I don't know if this has been your experience as well, because I'm like, obviously I work for a small business now, but like when I did work for a corporate job, yes, it was super soulless and terrible, but like it was consistent, and like
yeah.
I would like, I feel like corporate jobs were like, yeah, you're gonna fucking hate it, but it's a steady paycheck, you know what you're getting, you're gonna be fine. Whereas like everything else was kind of more dicey, but I was like, really, everything's dicey now. There's no security anywhere. So, and also searching for a job is a nightmare because of AI. So I was like, wow, we're really in the worst timeline. This is fun.
Yeah. Now, I've definitely noticed the same thing. When I was at Warner Brothers, there was kind of the feeling where it's just like soulless is definitely the word, but it was also cozy in a way. It's just like, I know, after like my manager and his manager, anybody higher up has no idea who the fuck I am or what's going on.
Exactly.
Like there's such a huge detachment in my current role, especially now. It's just like there's zero detachment from the highest person up and like me. So like, you know, like it seems like everybody's always kind of on my ass about everything, and it's more dicey. And like, of course, now it's, you know, people who thought they were safe and comfortable aren't as safe and comfortable as they thought they were previously.
Yeah.
And yeah, just trying to get through, because like now, especially with how AI and job searching kind of goes, it's like they're not looking for people who they can bring on and train up. They're looking, like, you need to know everything the moment you step in. And it's just like, but that's just not possible. I don't know what your guys' system is. I don't know what your guys' structure is. I need like at least a couple of weeks to just get brought up to speed once I come in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, you need to know everything. In fact, you need to know things that we don't know. That's specifically what we want.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, that's not going to go well for you guys.
Because I don't know shit.
Nothing. I don't know anything.
I've been faking it till I make it for at least the last 15 years.
That works
At some point. Yeah.
I just need to lie more on my resume. I think that's what my lesson is. I just need to start saying that I know when I'm talking.
Yeah, I was a manager everywhere I went, for sure. I led everything, let me tell you.
It's like, if I wasn't a manager, I tried to like reword my title to make it sound like I was a manager.
100%, yes.
I just don't put anything that's not management. I just don't even put on the resume.
I
There
mean,
are so many gaps in my resume because of that.
Oh yeah, no. Between when I left the cosmetic surgery center and started working at Knife Center as a video professional, like I worked like 5 different jobs, and I'm like, I don't put any of that on there. It's like, you don't need to know that you don't need to know that I was at a car dealership.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's best if you don't call that gas station and ask about me, actually.
Please don't. They're still looking for me.
They had to do a background check on one of the things, and there's just like, we need like every manager and place you've ever worked. It's like, some of these places don't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know who you're gonna. It's like, we need their contact information. It's like, you can't contact anyone. They don't exist.
That's wild. What a nightmare.
Gotta love that capitalism. So good.
It's doing good. It's working as intended, unfortunately.
But hey, they're cutting interest rates, so, you know,
hey,
your debt's gonna get less expensive. Not really.
Gas is a little cheaper here right now anyways. We're getting into the less travel season, so I can kind of afford to take a gas.
It's almost like it's an election year.
Right?
I don't want to think about that.
No.
It actually was.
Guys, 8 weeks or like 7 weeks.
I think
something like that.
I think they are opening polls this week in Virginia, so I'm just gonna get it over with.
Yeah. Fair.
Just try not to get a fight on the way in or out. Fight with who? All of them.
I was gonna say, I'm unhappy either way. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm not gonna be happy either way.
I will punch everybody in the face. I'm an equal opportunist.
I'd rather just I can't say what I can't make the joke I was about to make. That's gonna get me put on a list.
We'll save it.
For show.
Yeah, I was about to say we'll save it for the post show. Anything else you guys want to bring up? Dave Grohl's love child or anything else interesting going on?
You know what? I saw a video.
By the way.
Yeah. Yes.
You can have everything and it's still not enough. So
yes. However, I did see like cheating bad. Cheating wrong. Not okay. I'm not defending this, but I saw a video on TikTok that was like, hey, of all the things that lead singers have done in the history of music, maybe we let this one slide. Maybe like
my entire take. Yeah, like
That's true. Yes.
My entire take was just like, I'm gonna be honest. This is not the worst thing he could have possibly done. Not even in the top 10.
Still shitty though.
Still shitty.
Still shitty.
Still shitty.
Still very shitty.
But the only thing I was like, give credit is like, hey, at least you're owning it and you're gonna take care of the kid and not just pretend they don't exist. So.
Yeah.
Take the
How
small.
old is the kid? How long did he wait?
Just popped out.
I don't know.
Okay, good. Okay, that's good to know.
Like it was announced at the child's birth. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean,
surprise.
Yeah, 9 months to hold that in, but okay.
Again, it's just kind of like there have been people who have groomed and sex trafficked and done a whole lot of other things. This one, so again, it's just like, you know what? Not even the worst thing I've heard this week.
Yeah, you're not wrong on that.
TikTok.
But yeah, I was gonna say cheating's the fucking worst. Like,
yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
It's like, yeah, literally.
I've been cheated on. It's the worst.
But that Divorced Dad album's gonna be sick.
I released it and it was not.
Oh.
It's the only record I've pulled. But I saw another TikTok that was like, because they're saying that Warped Tour is going to come back. It's going to be like a 3-day festival instead of a touring thing. And the TikTok I saw said
festival then?
No, it's still Warped Tour. But I saw a TikTok that went, this has got to be the most elaborate To Catch a Predator scheme I've ever seen in my life.
I had been seeing a lot of Warped Tour stuff, and like people are saying it's just like that was 20 years ago. You can't do that anymore.
No. Yeah, no. From experience,
it's
I
like, wait
fucked
until
up my knee at Green Day.
It's just like bands aren't gonna volunteer for this. All of their fans are now actually of legal age.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Fun fact: I've actually never been to Warped Tour.
I have festivals like that. I in fact, Riot Fest is happening right now, and I can't think of something that I would like to do less than go to something like that.
I remember
at this point in my life, yeah.
So there was a guy I worked with at Discovery who had a similar sounding name to me, but the spelling was different. And I guess he went on vacation and decided to go to Coachella. And people were just like, oh yeah, Aaron went to Coachella last week. And they were just like, Aaron went to Coachella? I was just like,
sure?
It's like, I appreciate the fact that you guys questioned that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that your opinion of me was to be like, I don't think that's Aaron's vibe.
And it isn't.
It is definitely not.
Fun.
All right.
I had a friend who went to Burning Man this year. They're still alive. I have a friend that went to Burning Man this year.
Wasn't this the year that everybody got stranded?
Bless her soul.
No, last year was the year everyone got stranded.
Okay.
They were there as well. But
so there's a pattern.
My whole thing. Yes. Oh, definitely with this person. But my one takeaway, like just from like hearing them talk about it and getting ready for it, I have always fucking hated this thing, and I have a brand new hatred for going and camping in the desert for a week and then just littering and polluting and just like, dude. Anything like that, Coachella, Burning Man, any place where like the trust fund hippies are gonna be, no, thank you. That's not where I want to be.
It's so fucked immediately. Yes, yeah, I no, and it's loud, and it's bad parking. No, thank you.
I think just the idea of like setting up to go camp out to be around a ton of people just seems counterintuitive to me. I pack up and camp to get away from people, not be around people.
I wouldn't go camping.
That sounds terrible. The desert. Thank you.
Glamping now. Absolutely. I'll glamp all day.
Anyways, I'm quitting the show, guys. I'll see you guys later.
We did it.
I'm a Coloradan. I got mountains right there. Everybody I know is like camping this weekend. You going camping? You go hike? You go camp? And I'm just like, I'll do the hike, but I'm not fucking staying there.
I know on purpose. Why?
My truck is literally set up to where I can just like leave and go camping at a moment's notice. I got the tent, I got the sleeping bag, I got all the tools and axes and knives and machetes and everything. Like I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
There's a cooler
that checks out.
There's a cooler full of water. Like I'm good to go.
No, I need my amenities. I need my TV, my Dr. Pepper, ice cold, not wet, cats. Out of a cooler. Yeah.
I'll piss behind the tree and I will bury my poop. It's fine.
We are different creatures, all of us.
Yeah. That reminded me, like, one of my favorite memories of actually camping is me and a bunch of friends went camping when we were teenagers, and the entire weekend it was just trying to dare each other to pee off of the tallest point that we could find. So, and it ended the weekend with us just being like, I'd pee off that. Oh yeah, I'd pee off that.
I mean, that's basically what camping is for the most part.
Boys being boys.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, speaking of glamping, last time I did go on like a big camping trip, literally the guys had a setup where basically their tent was pretty much a full service kitchen. Like stove, oven, everything. Like basically it was just basically like a quarter of my apartment. And I was just like, I don't think this qualifies as camping.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, I'll stay in a cabin. Like me and my partner want to go to, there's a place in North Carolina where it's literally like a glass dome and you can see the forest out of like every part of it, but you can't see in, and it's just like, that sounds magical. And there's a kitchen and there's a bathroom and all those things. I'm like, that's what I need. I don't need to be out in it.
Yeah,
I do a hike, lovely, but not sleeping in it.
I do a cabin trip with my father-in-law and some buddies every year. Right around Christmas, and it's just basically let's get as far from civilization as possible. And it's nice.
Yeah.
In a cabin, for sure. Yeah. In a cabin with electricity, in a bathroom. You got it.
There was one year we got there and the electricity was out.
Oof. No, do either of you get that guy on TikTok who camps Alaska?
No.
And it's like, he's got a whole YouTube channel. It's just clips. This dude, like, he is like miles and miles into the Alaskan wilderness, building a fire and a little hut, and then making himself dinner with all of the seasonings. This guy never forgets a seasoning, and he's camping in the middle of fucking nowhere, and he's got the most delicious steak I've ever seen in my life, and like fried potatoes, and it's just like, dude, he just carries it all on a sled in, and it's just like one cast iron and a little grill.
it's like you have to have that, spice cabinet. That's like essential. House is burning down, I'm grabbing the spice cabinet.
That's fair.
I'll just buy more spices. I got a dog, dude.
Yeah, but which toy are you gonna save?
Right now the octopus, the orange obstruction you see back there.
Not the glass cube.
That the what?
The heart cube.
Heart cube. Oh yeah, that thing. Yeah, no. Maybe. I don't know. I've had some rough years with that. I kind of think we need some distance.
That's fair.
It's not you, it's her.
Bad.
Yeah.
You've upgraded to tentacle porn. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. As we all do. I understand.
We've all been there.
All of us.
I have been watching a lot of Lady Demiscu edits recently. She doesn't have tentacles, but those nails do something. Dimitrescu, that's how it's pronounced. I fucked it up.
I pronounce it the same way. It's fine. And then Emily else is just like, so this is what you're into? And I'm just like, yeah.
Who fucking wouldn't be?
Me and Emily have had fights about this. Where she's just like, I don't get it. It's just like, that's fine. You don't have to get it. I'm the one who gets it.
Tall vampire lady, give me uppies.
Crush me.
She's just like... It's like, so you're saying you want me to dress up like this? I was like, if you could, yeah, go for it.
Not saying no.
Yeah.
Don't threaten me with a good time. All right. Well, that kind of brings us to the end of the show. So the next homework assignment is Seth's problem. So, Seth, what's our next homework assignment?
Shit.
I knew this was gonna happen.
No, I actually am kind of caught on a couple things. How familiar are you both with Kevin Can F Himself?
I've heard about it.
Oh, I'm so... Yeah, I have heard about it, and I've heard very good things.
Yeah, it's taking like the sitcom format, but it's being very kind of... There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, the basics of it, in the most basic form, is it's a toxic relationship where everything from the man's perspective is a like Kevin James style sitcom.
Right.
And everything from the woman's perspective is a hardcore drama.
Right.
And like, I watched the first 3 episodes, really liked it, didn't get a chance to finish it, and I want an excuse to. So if you're both okay with that, we can do that.
Down
I'm 100% down.
Cool. All right, yeah.
Yay, we'll actually have something topical and recent.
Yeah.
We're very bad at that at this show. We like a lot of old shit.
Umbrella Academy, though, season 4 came out like last month, so that's relevant-ish.
And we did Has Been Hotel the weekend of.
Yeah, that was the first thing we did, and then we kind of fell off.
I'm the one who does the current shit, typically.
Yeah.
It's because Bree just knows what the youths like.
Sure.
Youths. Yeah.
The oldest
She's
person.
all up on that skibbity toilet.
Yeah, the oldest person on the show is just hip with the kids. With their pole dancing and dance instructing.
Yep. That's me. Hip. Cool.
I know that's what I loved when I was a kid. Dance instructing.
Yep.
All right. Well, anyways, looking forward to the next homework assignment. I am TCK Media on most platforms that you can find me on. I'm trying to get back into screaming, but I just don't have any kind of time for it. You got that Seth 23 you can find on the Tiki Talkies. You can see his most recent 9/11 post. Always a fun time of year for him.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
He's not.
And then you got the Raccoonaloon herself, Bree. She has a show called Game Birds that comes out basically around the same time this podcast comes up. They talk about indie games with her friend Alice. It's always a very good time. Love the show. So if you want more Bree and less Seth and Aaron and more indie games, definitely go check it out.
Yes.
And that's all we have for today, and I will see all of you guys next time.
Bye.
And see